If you want a new life, the old you has to go. That's not a phrase, it's a decision, one that changes everything. If you're tired of starting over, tired of feeling stuck, tired of pretending you're okay when you're not, this message is for you. This isn't about motivation, this is about truth. If you want real progress, you have to be honest with yourself. The person you've been, the one who delays, avoids, escapes, complains, settles, that version cannot follow you into your next chapter. You can't take weak habits into a strong future. You have to break that cycle. You have to destroy the old you. And here's the key. You've got to do it alone. Not because you're alone forever, but because transformation is a personal process. In this video, you'll learn how to rebuild yourself with clear rules, unshakable discipline, and a focused mindset. This is how you start over for real and make it last. Watch this until the end, and you won't just hear words. You'll feel the shift. Chapter 1. Delete every habit that's holding you back now. You know what keeps most people stuck? It's not a lack of talent. It's not a lack of opportunity. It's not because someone else has it better or easier. It's because they're dragging around the same old habits that have failed them over and over again. If you want to change your life, the first thing you've got to do is delete the habits that are holding you back. Not reduce them, not manage them, delete them. You've got to wake up one day and say, this is not how I want to keep living. And that moment doesn't come from luck. It comes from finally being honest with yourself. If you're tired of repeating the same struggles, you need to look at what you're doing every day. Because your life doesn't just suddenly fall apart. It crumbles little by little, with every small habit you know isn't helping you, but you keep doing anyway. And here's the truth. Those habits, they didn't show up on their own. You built them, one decision at a time, one excuse at a time. So now, it's time to take responsibility and tear them down, on purpose. Start with the habits that waste your time. Scrolling endlessly on your phone, watching things that don't help you grow, talking about problems with people who never offer solutions. These things aren't harmless. They steal hours from your life, hours you'll never get back. And if you do that every day, what do you expect your life to look like a year from now? The same, or worse. Then look at the habits that kill your confidence, putting things off, making excuses, saying, I'll start tomorrow. Every time you do that, you tell yourself that you can't handle discomfort. You train your mind to give up when it's time to grow. And you can't build a strong life with a weak mindset. The longer you protect your comfort zone, the longer you delay your potential. You've got to confront the things you keep running from. Habits like avoiding hard work, avoiding responsibility, avoiding real effort. These aren't small issues. They shape your future. Every time you choose easy over what's right, you build a life that's soft. A life that breaks the moment things get difficult. And the truth is, deleting these habits won't feel good at first. You'll want to go back. Your mind will make excuses. It'll say, just this once, or you've had a hard day, or you'll do better tomorrow. That's not your strength talking. That's your weakness trying to survive. What you need now is discipline, and not the loud kind that makes promises, the quiet kind that does the work. The kind of discipline that says no to yourself when it's time to stay focused. The kind that gets up early when it's easier to sleep in. The kind that works on your goals when nobody is watching. If you've been stuck for years, You don't need more motivation. You need to remove the daily routines that keep you stuck in the same pattern. The late mornings, the junk food, the negative thinking, the blaming, the mindless entertainment, the toxic people, none of that fits in the life you're trying to build. You've got to ask yourself a hard question. Who would I be if I stopped doing everything that weakens me? What kind of person could I become if I got rid of the habits that make me lazy, insecure, distracted, and dependent? Don't answer it with words. Answer it with action. Start removing one habit at a time. If you wake up late, fix it. If you complain too much, stop it. If you waste money, track it. If you avoid difficult conversations, have them. This is how you rebuild yourself, by doing the exact opposite of what destroyed you. Don't expect it to feel good right away. Growth doesn't start with comfort. It starts with discomfort. But you need that. You need that. You need to feel the burn of breaking the old you. You need to feel the sting of walking away from familiar patterns. That's how you know it's working. That's how you know the old version of you is starting to die. And when those habits are gone, something changes. You start respecting yourself more. You stop second-guessing everything. You move with more focus. You talk with more certainty. You do what you said you would do, not because it's easy, but because it's who you've decided to become. That's how you rebuild, not with dreams, not with talk, with daily action that makes the old version of you impossible to return to. And don't expect applause. Nobody is going to clap for you when you delete your bad habits. They might even laugh. Some people might feel uncomfortable seeing you change because they're still avoiding their own work. But this isn't about them. This is about your future. This is about building a version of yourself that you're proud to wake up to. You don't have to announce it. Just start living different. Start walking away from anything that makes you feel smaller. Start being someone who follows through. And when people ask what changed, you won't need a long explanation. You'll just say, I stopped doing what wasn't helping me. It's time to take your life seriously. Not tomorrow. Now. Delete the old habits that are draining your energy. They're not worth another minute of your time. You've got goals to reach, strength to build, a new version of yourself to create, alone, quietly, day by day, not just for a better year, for a better life. Chapter 2. Decide to become someone you truly admire. If you want real change, you have to make a serious decision, one that isn't just a thought in your head, but a standard in your life. That decision is this: you must decide to become someone you truly admire, not someone others approve of, not someone who looks successful on the surface, someone you respect when you're alone, someone you can rely on. That's where the real transformation begins. Too many people walk around trying to impress others while quietly feeling disappointed in themselves. They smile in public but feel empty when the day ends. They work hard to look good but never stop to ask if they actually feel good about who they are. You can't build a strong life on that foundation. You need to look in the mirror and be able to say, I like who I am becoming. That doesn't come from luck. It comes from decisions backed by action. So ask yourself this: what kind of person do you admire? Not what job they have, not how much money they make, not how many followers they've collected. Strip all that away. Look deeper. Do you admire people who are disciplined, honest, focused, calm under pressure? Do you look up to people who can handle life without blaming everyone around them? That's your model. That's your starting point. Now be real with yourself. Are you that kind of person right now? If the answer is no, don't beat yourself up. But don't avoid the truth either. This is the line you draw. This is where you stop pretending and start becoming. Becoming someone you admire means letting go of excuses. If you say, "I'm not disciplined," that's not a personality trait. That's a choice you've been repeating. If you say, "I'm not confident," that's not who you are. It's who you've been settling for. The only way that changes is if you stop accepting it. You don't fix your life by changing a few habits for a week. You fix your life by changing who you expect yourself to be. Start setting higher expectations when nobody's looking. Make it personal. If you say you're going to wake up early, do it. Not because someone is watching, because it matters to you. If you say you're done with negativity, stop feeding it. Not to prove a point, to live differently. You don't need to become perfect. That's not the goal. But you do need to become consistent, because confidence is built by showing up for yourself again and again, even when it's boring, even when it's uncomfortable, even when no one else sees it. You earn your own respect by doing the work you used to avoid. Most people want to feel proud of themselves, but are still living in ways that make them feel ashamed. They keep breaking promises to themselves. They keep pushing responsibility onto someone else. They keep choosing what's easy over what's right, and then they wonder why they don't feel good enough. There's no mystery in that. It's simple. You either live like someone you admire, or you don't. You don't get stronger by reading quotes or repeating affirmations. You get stronger by changing the way you live your days. You get stronger by being clear about the kind of person you want to become, and then building your life around that decision. That means saying no to the things that don't match your new standard. That means spending less time explaining and more time improving. That means cutting off old habits, old friendships, and old versions of yourself that don't belong in your future. Every time you choose discipline over distraction, you get closer to the version of you that you respect. Every time you do the thing you said you'd do, even when you don't feel like it, you build trust with yourself. That's what real confidence is. It's self-trust. It's knowing you can depend on your own effort. So many people chase approval from others because deep down they don't approve of themselves. They're waiting for validation from the outside to fix what's broken inside, but it never works. You can be praised by everyone and still feel lost if you're not living right by your own values. You can have support from others, but none of that means anything if you've abandoned your own standards. This is where rebuilding starts, from within. You rebuild by becoming your own role model, by deciding what values matter most to you, and living by them when no one is watching. You rebuild by being someone you don't have to apologize for anymore, someone who doesn't feel fake, someone who stands firm in their choices. That kind of strength doesn't just show up one day. You earn it. You build it through decisions made in quiet moments when nobody's around to clap for you. You want to admire yourself, then earn it. Earn it by doing what's difficult. Earn it by being honest about what's not working. Earn it by showing up on time, working hard, staying consistent, learning when others quit, and choosing to rise every time you fall. That's the path. It's not easy, but it's worth it. Think about how you talk to yourself. Are your words helping you grow, or are they keeping you small? The person you admire doesn't trash talk themselves. They hold themselves accountable, but they also believe in their ability to change. That belief comes from action. from results, from showing up day after day when it would have been easier to give in. You won't become someone you admire overnight. It takes time, it takes commitment, it takes struggle. But every day you stay on the path, you get closer. Every hard choice you make sharpens you. Every moment you resist going backward builds something stronger inside you. Eventually, it gets quiet. The old version of you, the one full of doubt, laziness, avoidance, fear, that version doesn't have a voice anymore. It gets replaced with certainty. You walk different, you talk different, you carry yourself like someone who's earned their peace. Because you have. That's what it means to rebuild yourself alone. You're not doing it to impress anyone. You're doing it to finally feel proud of the life you're living. You're doing it to finally feel like the person looking back at you is someone worth following. That's the work. That's the reward. So today, make the decision, not just in your head, but in how you move, how you speak, how you spend your hours. Decide to become someone you truly admire, not someday, now. And once you do, never lower that standard again. Chapter 3. Spend time alone, fixing what's broken inside you. If you keep ignoring what's broken inside you, you will continue to repeat the same patterns that keep your life stuck. No progress, no peace, and no direction. It's not about what others did to you. It's not about what didn't go your way. What truly matters now is whether you have the courage to stop, sit with yourself, and deal with what you've been avoiding. That requires time. That requires solitude. That requires full honesty when no one else is around.
Most people are afraid to be alone, not because they dislike silence, but because silence exposes what's going on inside. The anger, the guilt, the insecurity, the regrets, all of it shows up when you're no longer distracted. But if you want to heal, you have to stop running from those feelings. You have to stop covering pain with entertainment, noise, and busyness. None of those distractions fix anything. They only delay the work. You've got to spend time alone, not to escape people, but to finally face yourself. Alone time isn't punishment. It's where you rebuild. It's where you study your own patterns and figure out what needs to change. If you feel anxious when you're alone, that's a sign you've been disconnected from your own mind for too long. Get reconnected. Sit with your emotions. Ask yourself real questions. Why do you react the way you do? Why do certain things trigger you? Why do you chase things that always leave you empty? Until you answer those questions, nothing changes. You can change your job, move to a new city, cut people off, but if you never do the inner work, you'll bring the same broken patterns with you. That's why so many people keep repeating the same cycles in different places. It's not life doing it to them. It's their own unhealed behavior. To fix what's broken inside you, you have to stop lying to yourself. You have to admit what's not working. If you've been living with bitterness, face it. If you've been carrying resentment, let it go. If you've been making choices out of fear, call it what it is. You don't need to explain it to anyone else, but you do need to stop pretending everything's fine when you know it's not. Healing is not a weekend activity. It's not something you check off your list. It's a process, a commitment, and it doesn't happen in front of an audience. It happens in the quiet hours when you choose to be better instead of busy. It happens when you start having honest conversations with yourself about your role in your own pain. If you've been hurt by people, don't carry that hurt into every part of your life. Learn the lesson, but don't let the pain shape your identity. You are not what happened to you. You are what you choose to become after it. But that shift doesn't happen unless you take time to understand what's still affecting you and why you haven't let it go. Some people never heal because they never slow down long enough to deal with their damage. They jump from one thing to another, one relationship to another, one excuse to another. But at some point, the noise stops working. At some point, you realize you can't build anything solid on a weak foundation. You've got to tear down the broken parts and rebuild stronger. This is what real solitude is for. It's not about escaping others. It's about connecting with yourself. Not the version of you that pretends everything is fine. The real you. The one that feels lost, confused, exhausted, or stuck. That version of you needs attention. It needs time. It needs understanding. Don't judge yourself for being broken. Everyone has something they need to fix. What separates strong people from the rest is that they don't run from the work. They don't hide behind false confidence. They go inward. They deal with their flaws. They ask hard questions and face painful answers. That's where power is built, in the deep, quiet, and comfortable places most people avoid. And here's what's true. You're not going to heal everything overnight. You're not going to solve every issue in one sitting. But you don't need to. What matters is that you're finally doing the work. What matters is that you've stopped avoiding yourself. That alone makes you stronger. Spend time writing down what you've been through, what it taught you, how it changed you, what you still carry that doesn't serve you, what beliefs you picked up that are no longer true. This kind of reflection opens doors. You'll start to see clearly what you've outgrown, and you'll stop blaming the world for pain that's now yours to release. No one is going to do this part for you. People can support you, but they can't fix you. They can care about you, but they can't clean up the mess inside you. That job belongs to you, and it starts with quiet time. Alone, uncomfortable, honest, necessary. If you want to move forward in life, you've got to stop dragging your emotional baggage with you. Let it go, but don't rush the process. You're not trying to escape pain. You're trying to understand it, so it no longer controls you. That's how you grow. That's how you take your power back. You don't need to post about it. You don't need to prove anything to anyone. The strongest people are often the quietest. They don't make a show of healing. They just do the work, and the results speak for themselves. They become calmer, clearer, sharper, more grounded. You feel their presence. You trust their words. That's not personality. That's emotional clarity earned through solitude. So take time for yourself. Not just occasionally, consistently. Make it a part of your routine to check in with your thoughts, to challenge your behavior, to question your decisions, to heal what still hurts, and to clean out the parts of your mind that no longer represent who you're becoming. You don't rebuild your life by staying busy. You rebuild it by sitting still, taking responsibility, and choosing peace over chaos. That decision happens in solitude, in silence, in the space where real growth begins. And when you come out of that space, you'll be different. Not because life got easier, but because you got clearer. You'll walk with more focus. You'll talk with more conviction. You'll choose better. And people will feel the shift, not because you told them, but because you lived it. That's the result of doing the inner work. That's the reward of spending time alone fixing what's broken inside you. It's not a trend. It's not temporary. It's transformation that lasts, because it came from the only place that ever mattered. You. Chapter 4. Change your daily routine from the ground up. If your life isn't changing, look at how you're spending your days. Not your dreams, not your plans, not your goals, your routine, because your routine is the truth. It's what you actually do, not what you say you'll do. And if your routine is filled with weak choices, distractions and bad timing, it's no surprise that your results feel disappointing. If you want a different life, you have to rebuild your daily routine from the ground up, not just tweak it, not just adjust it, rebuild it. Tear it down and build a new one that actually supports the life you say you want. Too many people try to chase success with routines built on randomness. They wake up with no structure. They let the day control them. They react to everything. They start late. They do the easy things first. They avoid discomfort. And then at the end of the day, they wonder why they feel behind, anxious, or drained. It's because their routine isn't built with purpose. It's built on habits that have no intention behind them. If you want to rebuild yourself, your routine must become non-negotiable. That means waking up with a plan. That means deciding the night before how the next day is going to look. You can't keep living on autopilot and expect your life to feel different. Growth doesn't happen by accident. It happens when your actions match your values. It happens when your days are built around what matters most, not just what feels comfortable. Start by waking up with discipline, not based on how you feel, based on what needs to get done. The moment you begin your day without a clear direction, you've already given your power away. The morning is where your mind is quiet. It's where you set the tone. If you begin with laziness, you invite chaos. If you begin with structure, you build control. This is where most people fail. They delay their day and hope motivation will save them. But motivation fades. Discipline lasts. Take a hard look at your current routine. Write it down if you need to. What do you do in the first hour of your day? What do you do before you go to sleep? How much of your day is wasted on things that bring no return? You don't need a complex system. You need awareness. Once you know where your time is going, you can start making changes that matter. Cut out everything that doesn't build you. That means reducing the noise, pointless scrolling, unproductive conversations, lazy entertainment, and tasks that feel busy but change nothing. Replace them with actions that move you forward. Read, train, plan, reflect, build. These are the habits that sharpen your thinking. These are the habits that give your day structure. These are the habits that make sure your effort is actually going somewhere. Set fixed blocks of time for things that are important. Don't leave them to chance. If your health matters, schedule your workouts. If your mind matters, schedule your reading or learning. If your future matters, schedule time for your goals. People waste hours every day claiming they don't have time, when in reality, they just never built a routine that respects their priorities. Make your routine something that challenges you. It shouldn't feel easy. Growth happens when you stretch beyond your normal rhythm. That might mean waking up an hour earlier. That might mean turning off your phone at night. That might mean setting rules around how you spend your evenings. It's not about punishment. It's about making sure your routine reflects your purpose, not your impulses. Understand that a powerful routine isn't just about time management. It's about energy management. What drains you? What fuels you? If you're doing high-level tasks when your mind is tired, you're setting yourself up to fail. If you're saving important decisions for the end of the day, you're relying on willpower that's already been burned. Structure your day so your most important actions get your best energy. Don't fall into the trap of perfection. You're not trying to create the perfect day. You're trying to build a consistent one. A day where you follow through. A day where your actions line up with your direction. If you mess up, adjust. If you fall off, reset. But don't let one bad day turn into a bad week. That's how old patterns return. And once they do, they move in quickly. Build accountability into your routine. Track what matters. Write it down. Did you stick to your plan today? Did you do what you said you'd do? You can't improve what you don't measure. And you can't stay consistent if you're not paying attention. Even if no one else is watching, you must hold yourself accountable. This is how you become someone you trust. This is how you rebuild your identity through action. Don't wait until your life is falling apart to take your routine seriously. Start now. Start when it's uncomfortable. Start before you're ready. Because once you build a strong routine, it starts protecting you. It protects your energy. It protects your time. It protects your momentum. Even on bad days, it keeps you from slipping too far. That's the power of structure. That's what separates people who keep rising from people who stay stuck. Every successful person you admire has one thing in common. They built their life around a routine that matched their goals. They didn't just have talent, they had structure. They didn't just rely on good days. They created good days through consistency. That's available to you too. But you've got to take it seriously. You've got to rebuild the way you live your days. Forget balance. Focus on alignment. Your routine should reflect who you're becoming, not who you've been. If the person you're trying to become is focused, driven, resilient, and intentional, then your routine needs to support that. It can't be full of distraction, delay, and disorder. If it is, change it. From the ground up. You don't need to announce it. You don't need to wait for the perfect time. You just need to start. Wake up with purpose. Move with clarity. Build a structure that supports your goals and protect it with everything you have. Because your routine isn't just about productivity. It's your foundation. It's your armor. It's your roadmap to a better life. And it begins the moment you stop settling for your old habits and start choosing new standards that truly match the life you want. Chapter 5. Let yourself feel the pain you always avoid. The pain you avoid is the very pain that keeps you trapped. Not because it has power over you, but because you keep pushing it away instead of facing it head-on. You cannot build a strong and grounded life while running from your emotions. You cannot move forward while dragging a weight you refuse to look at. At some point, you must stop, sit still, and allow yourself to fully feel what you've been trying to escape for so long. That's where your healing begins. That's where your real strength is born, not in avoidance, but in acceptance. Most people carry silent pain. They cover it up with work, entertainment, busy schedules, loud environments, even fake smiles. But behind all that noise is something that never left. Disappointment, heartbreak, failure, guilt, shame, regret. It's there. It's alive. And if you never deal with it, it will quietly shape everything you do. It'll show up in your relationships, your habits, your self-talk, your mood, and your choices. Not because you want it to, but because it's unfinished. You can only suppress something for so long before it starts leaking through your actions. That's why avoidance doesn't work. It only creates a life built on tension. You wake up feeling anxious, disconnected, uncertain, and you don't even know why. But if you trace it back, it almost always comes from pain that's been ignored, pain that was never processed. Pain that's still alive inside of you because you never gave it the attention it needed. You have to understand something clearly. Feeling pain is not weakness. Avoiding it is. Pretending it's not there doesn't make you strong. It makes you emotionally numb. You can't grow numb and expect to live a fulfilling life. You have to feel, fully, honestly, deeply. That's what makes you alive again. That's what reconnects you to your truth. and no one else can do that for you. This is work only you can do. If there's something you've been holding in, let it come out. You don't have to talk to the world about it. You don't need an audience. You just need a quiet space to feel what you've been carrying. The sadness, the frustration, the fear, the disappointment, all of it. You can't heal what you refuse to feel. And no matter how long you've been avoiding it, it's not too late to face it now. Sometimes you're not tired from life. You're tired from holding back your pain. That inner weight wears you down. It clouds your thinking. It steals your peace. You try to move on, but you haven't really let go, because you haven't given yourself permission to grieve what's been lost, to forgive what still hurts, or to admit what you've been struggling with. That's not something time heals. That's something truth heals. And truth comes when you stop hiding from your own emotions. This isn't about staying in pain. It's about moving through it. That's the only way it loses its grip on you. When you finally feel it all, the real way, not the surface level way, you start to release it. You start to understand it. You begin to realize that the things that once controlled you no longer hold the same power, because you're facing them with clarity, with presence, with maturity. That's what transforms pain into growth. Don't be afraid to cry. Don't be afraid to feel heavy. Don't be afraid to admit what hurt you. These aren't signs of weakness. These are signs that you're human. Strong people don't bury their pain. They sit with it until it no longer owns them. They give themselves space to feel everything so they can get to the other side with peace instead of pretending. That's real emotional strength. The pain might come from something recent, or maybe it's something you buried years ago. Either way, it's still inside, and until you bring it to the surface, it will stay there, waiting. You'll think you've moved on, but it'll still be guiding your reactions, shaping your fears, and limiting your growth. That's why you must deal with it directly. That's why you can't skip this part if you're serious about rebuilding yourself. Sit with your story. Think about what broke your trust. Think about where you felt unseen, unloved, unwanted, or abandoned. Think about the moments that left you feeling small, stuck, or ashamed. Let the memories come up. Let the feelings return, not to suffer all over again, but to finally acknowledge what you went through. This is not about becoming the victim. This is about becoming the person who's ready to face the past and no longer be controlled by it. You can't rebuild on top of emotional chaos. You have to clean out what's been piling up. That means being honest about your fears, your doubts, and your pain. That means looking at your reflection without distraction and asking, what do I still need to deal with? The answers may not be easy, but they're necessary. You're not broken for feeling pain. You're not behind because you're struggling. Pain is part of the journey, but only if you let it teach you. Only if you let it open your eyes to who you've been and who you still have the chance to become. The pain you feel today can either define your identity or refine your strength. You choose that. And the choice begins when you stop numbing it and start facing it. Sit in the discomfort. Feel the ache. Let the emotions flow through you. Let them pass like a storm, not something you need to control. Your body will try to tense up. Your mind will try to distract you. But if you stay present, the weight starts to lift. Not all at once, but enough for you to breathe again. Enough for you to say, I don't have to carry this anymore. And you don't. You really don't. But before you can release it, you have to feel it. You have to give it space. You have to let the wound speak so it can finally close. Then and only then can you rebuild, not as someone avoiding their past, but as someone who's made peace with it. Someone who's stronger, because they faced what others kept running from. This is the quiet part of rebuilding. The part that doesn't look strong on the outside, but inside, it's the part that matters most. It's where healing happens. It's where clarity returns. It's where strength is forged. So don't rush it. Don't ignore it. And don't tell yourself it doesn't matter. It does. What you've been through matters. What you feel matters. And what you do with those feelings will either keep you trapped or set you free. Feel the pain you've been avoiding, not to suffer, but to grow. Feel it fully. And when you're ready, rise from it. Lighter, stronger, clearer, and more in control of the life you're building. Chapter 6. Build a mindset that doesn't quit when it's hard. Most people start strong and fall apart when things get tough. They say they want to change, but the moment life pushes back, they stop. Not because they can't continue, but because their mindset isn't built for pressure. They give up too quickly. They make quitting an option when things don't go their way. If you want to rebuild your life, you need to build a mindset that doesn't quit when it's hard. A mindset that doesn't fall apart under stress. A mindset that keeps going when comfort is no longer available. That's the kind of mindset that separates those who succeed from those who stay stuck. You've got to understand something clear. Your life will test you. You will be uncomfortable. You will face rejection, failure, silence, and slow results. And if you only stay committed when things feel easy, you'll never build anything that lasts. Growth lives on the other side of difficulty. And the only way to get there is by creating a mind that doesn't give up the second it feels resistance. This kind of mindset doesn't happen overnight. You build it like a muscle. You train it through your decisions. Every time you feel like quitting and you choose to stay in the fight, your mind gets stronger. Every time you feel discouraged and you still take action, your discipline deepens. That's how real mental toughness is built, through repetition, through showing up when it's boring, inconvenient, uncomfortable, or frustrating. Not through motivation, through consistency. The biggest trap people fall into is waiting to feel ready. They think mindset means confidence. It doesn't. It means staying loyal to what you committed to, whether you feel like it or not. A strong mind doesn't wait for perfect conditions. It moves forward anyway. It finds a way instead of finding a way out. That kind of strength is rare, but it's not unreachable. Anyone can build it, but few are willing to. If you quit every time it gets hard, you'll never know what's on the other side. You'll keep starting over. You'll stay stuck in the cycle of trying and stopping, hoping and doubting. It's exhausting, and it's avoidable. If you finally decide to remove quitting from your list of options, that decision alone will change how you handle challenges. You'll stop looking for excuses. You'll stop blaming situations. You'll start taking full control. When things go wrong, and they will, you've got to respond, not react. You've got to think clearly under pressure. That means staying calm when your emotions flare up. That means focusing on solutions instead of problems. That means staying locked in on the goal, even when the process feels messy. These are the small but powerful shifts that turn you into someone who keeps going when most people don't. A mindset like this isn't about pretending everything is fine. It's about staying in the fight, even when you're tired, uncertain, or discouraged. You keep moving forward, because your future means more to you than your comfort. You keep pushing because you know quitting will only take you back to the life you're trying to escape. That's what separates winners from everyone else. They don't negotiate with difficulty. They go through it. They grow from it. You need to train your thinking to expect challenges, not avoid them. Most people crumble because they didn't plan for resistance. They expected it to be smooth. They thought the path would be easy. It never is. If you want to build a life you're proud of, expect pressure, expect resistance, expect days when you don't want to do it. And when those days come, do it anyway. That's how you prove to yourself you're serious. The hardest part about building a strong mindset is staying committed when nobody sees the effort. When there's no applause, no recognition, no results yet. That's where most people break down, but that's where real character is built. When you keep showing up quietly, when you choose discipline over excuses, when you stick to your habits, even when it feels like nothing's working, that's the foundation. That's what creates unshakable mental strength. You've got to stop talking yourself out of progress. You've got to stop telling yourself it's too much. You've got to stop quitting on yourself the moment it gets inconvenient. Start demanding more from your own thinking. Start asking better questions. Instead of, can I do this? Ask, what's my next step? Instead of, why is this so hard? Ask, how do I become tougher than this? Shift your thinking from helpless to responsible. A strong mindset isn't loud, it's quiet, it's focused. It doesn't need to announce its plans, it just does the work. It follows through, it adjusts when needed. It doesn't depend on praise, it depends on purpose. You build it by doing the right thing, even when it's the hard thing. Especially when it's the hard thing. That's how you rise above your old patterns. That's how you stop going in circles and finally move forward. And remember, this isn't about pushing non-stop until you burn out. It's about being consistent, not extreme. It's about showing up with intensity when needed and resting when necessary, but never giving up altogether. Giving up is different from taking a pause. You can slow down, but don't stop. You can feel tired, but don't retreat. Know the difference. Respect your limits, but don't let weakness disguise itself as self-care. Don't wait until life forces you to develop strength. Build it now. Train your thoughts every day. Challenge your comfort every day. Push your limits every day. And when it gets hard, and it will, you'll be ready. Not because the path is easy, but because you've become someone who refuses to quit. There's nothing more powerful than a person who's decided they won't break when it gets tough. That kind of person becomes unstoppable. Not because they never fall, but because they always get back up. Not because they have everything figured out, but because they never stop working on themselves. That's the mindset you need. That's the mindset that changes your life. Build it, protect it, and never let it go. Chapter 7. Do uncomfortable work until confidence starts to grow. Confidence doesn't come from talking about change. It comes from doing hard things when you don't feel ready. Most people spend their lives waiting to feel confident before they act. They wait to feel prepared. They wait for approval. They wait for the perfect moment, and that moment never comes. You don't wake up confident one day. You build confidence by doing uncomfortable work that forces you to grow. That's how belief in yourself is created, not through motivation, but through action, repeated under pressure. You start with tasks that make you nervous. You face situations where you're unsure of yourself. You step into responsibilities you think you're not prepared for. You show up early. You speak up when your voice shakes. You put your name on your work even if you're scared of judgment. All of these actions teach your brain something powerful, that you're capable of doing more than you thought. And when you collect enough of those wins, you start trusting yourself. That trust becomes confidence. Comfort feels good, but it never teaches you anything. It never stretches your limits. It never demands anything real from you. If your days are filled with ease and safety, you're not getting stronger. you're staying the same. Uncomfortable work doesn't feel good in the moment, but it moves you forward. It teaches discipline. It reveals your flaws. It forces you to focus. And that's the path to real growth. Think about how many opportunities you've already avoided because they felt too hard. How many times you held back because you weren't sure you'd succeed. How many times you played it safe and ended the day with regret. That regret piles up. It turns into frustration, and eventually it becomes low self-esteem. Not because you weren't capable, but because you kept backing away from the exact experiences that would have built you. Every time you avoid discomfort, you weaken your belief in yourself. You tell your mind, "I can't handle this." You create a loop of hesitation and self-doubt. And the only way to break it is to do the opposite. Say yes to the challenge. Step into the pressure. Prove to yourself, not anyone else, that you're capable of handling the struggle. And when you do that consistently, the fear starts to fade. The hesitation loses its grip, and your confidence grows without force. You have to train yourself to lean into discomfort, not run from it. Choose the hard conversation instead of silence. Choose the difficult task over procrastination. Choose effort when your mind wants to coast. These moments shape you. They create a foundation of confidence that isn't loud but strong. A confidence that doesn't need to prove anything to anyone, because it was built in private through effort and commitment. You won't always succeed. That's not the point. Sometimes the uncomfortable work will beat you. You'll mess up. You'll fall short. But you still grow, because growth isn't about getting everything right. It's about showing up and refusing to quit when it gets complicated. And when you show yourself that you can stay in the fire without running, something inside of you changes. You become steady. You become grounded. You stop questioning yourself every time things don't go perfectly. Confidence isn't the absence of fear, it's the decision to move forward despite it. It's built by doing things that scare you until they don't anymore. It's built by walking through your doubts, not around them. Every rep counts. Every time you do something you once avoided, you gain ground. You expand what you believe is possible for you. And that's the mindset you need to rebuild your life from the inside out. You don't need to feel confident to take action. You need to act to feel confident. The direction is clear. Start with small uncomfortable steps every day. Wake up earlier. Speak your mind when you usually stay quiet. Push your workouts beyond your limits. Handle your responsibilities without delay. Stop making excuses when things get hard. All of this will feel unfamiliar, maybe even frustrating. But that's the point. You're rewiring the way you deal with pressure. You're teaching your brain that growth lives where it's uncomfortable. Most people are addicted to comfort. They've convinced themselves that life should feel smooth all the time. That's a lie. Life isn't meant to be easy. It's meant to be meaningful. And meaning comes from effort, from contribution, from personal growth. You don't find meaning watching another video or waiting for motivation. You find it in the work you used to avoid. You find it in the challenges that call you to rise up and give more than you thought you had. You've got to build the habit of chasing discomfort with purpose. Don't wait until it's convenient. Seek it out. Let your routine be filled with things that stretch you. Let your schedule reflect what matters, not what's easiest. Confidence comes from building a track record of following through on hard things. And that means showing up when it's raining, when you're tired, when you feel off. Not for a perfect result, but because you're training your identity. You're becoming someone who doesn't quit on themselves. You'll notice over time that things you used to fear no longer bother you. What once triggered anxiety now feels like just another task. That shift isn't magic, it's earned. It's the result of doing uncomfortable things over and over until they no longer control your emotions. And once you've built that internal power, you carry it everywhere, in your relationships, in your work, in your goals. You stop shrinking, you stop hiding, you stop doubting. Confidence isn't given to you. It's not built by compliments or outside validation. It's built in the quiet moments where you could take the easy route, but choose the hard one instead. It's built in the decision to show up and try again, even when yesterday didn't go your way. It's built by standing your ground when everything inside you wants to walk away. You've got that power, but you have to use it. You have to train it daily. There's nothing more freeing than knowing you don't need to feel brave to take action. You just need to take the next step. No matter how uncertain, no matter how tough, just take the next step. And when you do, again and again, confidence begins to show up. Quietly at first, then stronger. Then it becomes your normal. And from there everything changes. Not because life gets easier, but because you've become the kind of person who rises when it gets hard. That's the foundation of real belief in yourself. That's where true confidence is born. And you earn it, one uncomfortable step at a time. Chapter 8. Replace comfort with discipline in everything you do. Comfort is the silent trap that keeps most people from ever becoming who they're truly capable of being. It disguises itself as peace, but it quietly takes your drive. It tells you you're okay where you are, even when you're not. It makes you ignore your potential. It convinces you to stay the same. If you want to grow, if you want to become someone stronger, sharper, and more respected, then you must begin to replace comfort with discipline in everything you do. That doesn't mean you remove all joy. It means you stop living by what feels easy and start living by what builds your future. Discipline is the decision to do what needs to be done, regardless of how you feel in the moment. Comfort is the decision to do what feels good now, without caring about what it costs you later. The difference between the two shows up in your results. It shows up in your health, your mindset, your relationships, your finances, your consistency. You can't expect growth if you keep choosing the easy route every time it's available. Every small moment of weakness builds a habit of avoiding discomfort, and every small decision to choose discipline builds a habit of becoming who you said you wanted to be. Your morning is the first test. Do you get up when you said you would, or do you stay in bed for a few more minutes? That choice isn't about sleep. It's about whether you're in control or your feelings are. The person you want to become won't be built by pressing snooze. It will be built by showing up early, even when it's cold, even when you're tired, even when nobody's watching. That's where it starts. That's where you prove to yourself you're serious. You build discipline by being intentional with your time. You stop wasting hours on distractions that bring no value. You stop scrolling endlessly when your goals are still waiting for your focus. You stop saying, "I'll do it later," and start doing it now. This is how you train your mind to obey your standards instead of your moods. Comfort will always whisper, "Just take it easy." Discipline will remind you, "You've got work to do." The one you listen to most will shape your future. When you make decisions based on comfort, you slowly destroy your potential. You eat what's convenient instead of what fuels you. You avoid the gym because it's difficult. You cancel plans because you don't feel like being social. You delay work because entertainment is easier. Over time, those small moments build a lifestyle, and that lifestyle becomes your identity. If you don't break that pattern, it becomes normal. But normal doesn't mean right. Discipline is about doing the right thing, even when it's boring, even when it's repetitive, even when you don't feel excited. It's brushing your teeth every morning. It's staying off your phone while you work. It's preparing your meals instead of ordering junk. It's sticking to your routine when everyone else is wasting time. These choices may seem small, but they separate winners from everyone else. Most people know what to do, but only a few people actually do it every day. Replacing comfort with discipline means giving up temporary pleasure for long-term strength. It means walking past shortcuts. It means doing extra reps. It means staying committed when results are slow. That's what makes it powerful. Discipline gives you control. It gives you clarity. It gives you the ability to say no when everything around you is pushing for yes. That's real freedom. Not doing what you feel like, but doing what you've decided matters. You don't build discipline by waiting to feel ready. You build it by choosing hard things on purpose. You run even when your legs are sore. You study even when your mind wants to relax. You speak up even when your voice shakes. These actions condition your mind to trust your decisions, not your emotions. Once your mind learns that your word is final, everything changes. You become more stable. You become more confident. You become more in control. It's not just about tasks. It's about how you carry yourself. Discipline affects how you think, how you talk, how you respond under pressure. It sharpens you. It toughens you. It forces you to rise when comfort would have had you quit. And it's not something you turn on once a week. It's daily. It's hourly. It's in the way you live every part of your life, from your morning to your night. Start small. Don't try to change everything in a day. Pick one thing where you've been choosing comfort and replace it with discipline. Wake up earlier. Train harder. Stick to your budget. Say no to distractions. Over time, these decisions compound. They build strength in places where you used to fall apart. And soon the things that once felt impossible become part of your routine. Most people avoid discipline because they think it's too strict. But the truth is, it's the most freeing way to live. When you have discipline, you don't need motivation. You don't wait for energy. You don't depend on outside pressure. You move because you said you would. That's power. That's stability. That's maturity. You stop reacting and start leading. You stop blaming and start adjusting. That's what happens when discipline replaces comfort. There will be days when it feels like you're not getting anywhere. Days when the discipline feels heavy and the results are invisible. But that's when it matters most. That's when you separate from who you used to be. Because the old you gave up during those days. The old you made excuses. The old you looked for ways out. You're not that person anymore. You're building something different now. And discipline is the tool you're using to do it. There's no perfect path. You'll mess up. You'll slip. But discipline doesn't demand perfection. It demands effort. Get back on track. Reset your focus. Keep going. That alone puts you ahead of most people. Because most people never rebuild once they fall. But you're not most people. You're rebuilding your life piece by piece. And comfort can't have a seat in that process. Keep showing up. Keep doing the hard things. Keep saying no to what breaks your focus. Build your new life with intention. Build it with commitment. Build it with discipline in everything you do. Because once you build a life based on strong choices instead of easy ones, nothing can shake you. That's how real transformation happens, by replacing comfort with decisions that actually build something you can be proud of. Chapter 9. Set new rules and follow them without negotiation. If your life isn't improving, it's because your current rules allow too much weakness. They allow too many delays, too many excuses, and too many emotional decisions. If you want to rebuild yourself and create a life you can respect, you have to start setting new rules, and you have to follow them without negotiation. Not when you feel like it. Not when it's convenient. Every single time. Because discipline starts with standards, and standards only work when they're enforced with consistency. Most people live without structure. They just go with the flow. They let their emotions decide their choices. One day they're focused, the next day they're distracted. One week they're making progress, the next week they're back to square one. That cycle doesn't break until you decide to install rules that force you to act with purpose, rules that push you toward growth, whether you're in the mood or not. That's what structure is for. It protects your progress when motivation disappears. New rules mean new behavior. You can't use the same mindset that got you stuck to get yourself out. You have to become someone who lives by a personal code. That code is what separates you from the version of yourself that used to quit. It's what keeps you grounded when life starts pulling you in different directions. Without rules, everything feels optional. And when everything is optional, nothing gets done. Your rules don't have to be complicated. In fact, they should be simple. Wake up at a certain time. Train at a certain hour. No screens before your priorities are done. Speak with respect. Do what you said you'd do. No skipping steps. No pushing things off until tomorrow. These sound basic, but they're powerful if you live by them fully. The strength doesn't come from the rule itself. The strength comes from the discipline to follow it, regardless of circumstances. There will be days when your mind tries to negotiate. It will give you reasons to bend the rule. It'll say, "You've done enough today," or "It's okay just this once," or "Nobody will know if you skip it." That's when the decision matters most. That's the test. If you give in every time it's uncomfortable, your rules mean nothing. But if you hold the line even when it's tough, your character gets stronger. And over time you become unshakable. This is how you build trust with yourself. It's not about big promises. It's about daily execution. Following your own rules even when there's no reward, even when there's no applause, even when no one else cares. You care. That's enough. When you live by your own code, you stop waiting for people to hold you accountable. You become your own accountability. That's real power. That's the kind of foundation that can't be shaken by excuses or emotions. You have to stop treating your growth like a suggestion. It's not. It's a responsibility. If you want a better life, then your daily actions have to reflect that. And that starts with rules that are clear, firm and personal. Not borrowed from someone else. Not temporary, but built around the kind of person you've decided to become. Because when your rules match your vision, your direction becomes clear. You stop drifting and start leading yourself. When you break your own rules, you send a message to your mind that your standards aren't real, that they're flexible, that they can be ignored if things feel difficult. And the more you do that, the harder it becomes to take yourself seriously. But the moment you start enforcing your own rules, your entire mindset shifts. You start walking different. You start speaking with more certainty. You stop second-guessing every decision. Because now you have structure. Now you have personal control. Don't wait until your life falls apart to create rules. Set them now. Set them when you're focused. Set them when your vision is clear. That way, when things get chaotic, your structure holds. You don't fall back into weakness. You lean into your system. That's what rules are for. They're not just about discipline. They're about protection. They protect your time, your energy, your goals, and your mindset. There's no point in setting rules if you keep changing them when it gets hard. Your environment might change. Your schedule might shift. but your standards stay. They are the anchor. No matter where you go or what happens, you hold the line. That's what builds internal strength. And once you've trained yourself to live that way, nothing feels stronger than knowing you won't break your own code, no matter what life throws at you. This mindset isn't natural at first, especially if you've spent years negotiating with yourself. You've got to retrain the way you think, the way you respond to discomfort, the way you handle hard choices. Instead of asking, "Do I feel like doing this?" ask, "What do my rules demand right now?" That small shift changes everything. You remove emotion from the equation. You replace it with commitment. You stop guessing and start executing. There's no growth without rules. There's no strength without structure. You can't rebuild yourself if you keep living by the same patterns that broke you. You've got to rise above that. You've got to become someone who moves with purpose, not feelings. That's what this chapter of your life is about. Not chasing motivation, but building a system that pulls you forward even when nothing else will. This isn't about perfection. It's about integrity. You don't have to get everything right, but you do have to stay honest with yourself. If you break a rule, own it, fix it, get back on track. Don't lie to yourself. Don't pretend it didn't matter. That's how people lose trust in themselves. And when that trust is gone, progress slows down. But when you live with integrity, you move faster, you move clearer, you become sharper. This is how you take control, not by hoping for better days, not by waiting for the right mindset, but by setting clear personal rules and living by them without negotiation. No matter the time, no matter the mood, no matter the noise around you, you don't need permission to level up. You just need a system you actually follow. One decision at a time, one rule at a time. That's how you rebuild your life from the ground up. Chapter 10. Make your growth so real, no one recognizes you. Growth should be obvious, not because you talk about it, but because you live differently. It should show in your habits, your attitude, your words, your discipline, and your presence. You reach a point where you no longer need to explain who you are or what you're doing. Your growth speaks for itself. And when you take it seriously enough, it becomes so real that people who once knew you can't even recognize who you've become. That's the goal. Not to prove people wrong, not to get validation, but to become so focused, so consistent, and so developed that the old version of you doesn't exist anymore. You don't get to this point by changing a few habits for a week. You get there by living with a new standard every single day. You change how you think, how you move, how you respond, how you wake up, and how you end your day. It's not about perfection, it's about persistence. You don't need applause. You don't need attention. You need execution. Quiet, steady, non-stop execution that reshapes the way you show up to life. That's how growth becomes undeniable. Most people will never see it coming. They'll remember who you used to be. The version that quit early, doubted themselves, stayed in comfort, talked a lot, but acted little. That version is the one you're destroying every day you stay consistent. Every time you push through discomfort, every time you show up without recognition, every time you choose structure over distraction, that version begins to fade, and in its place, a new person starts to form. Someone with discipline, someone with purpose, someone who doesn't need reminders because they're locked in on their future. You grow when you stop talking about change and start becoming the result. Not through public declarations, but private decisions. You grow when your old temptations no longer feel attractive. When your distractions no longer steal your focus. When your excuses no longer hold any weight. That level of growth can't be faked. It can't be mimicked. It only comes through effort that doesn't take days off, through personal rules that are followed with precision, through work that continues even when no one sees it. This kind of growth takes sacrifice. You have to walk away from people who aren't moving forward. You have to say no to comfort. You have to spend more time in solitude. You have to stop needing to be understood. You're not here to be accepted by everyone. You're here to evolve. And that means letting go of anything that tries to keep you small, safe, and average. If they don't understand you anymore, that's fine. They're not supposed to. They're looking for the old version of you, and that person no longer exists. You don't owe anyone an explanation for why you're changing. Growth doesn't require permission. It only requires action. Action that's driven by your own values, your own standards, your own personal vision for your life. When your daily behavior reflects that vision, growth becomes automatic. You're not pretending. You're not forcing. You're simply choosing better and repeating that choice until your entire identity shifts. That's how you build something real. There's a certain silence in real transformation. You stop needing to be seen. You stop chasing approval. You stop performing for the outside world. Because now your focus is internal. It's you versus you. It's about beating your past self, not impressing others. You become addicted to progress. You crave discipline. You protect your peace. You eliminate chaos. And before you know it, your life starts to look nothing like it used to. And neither do you. Growth becomes visible in your posture, in your voice, in your decisions. You don't chase things you used to chase. You don't react like you used to react. You don't depend on things that once made you feel weak. That transformation doesn't happen overnight, but it happens every day you stay committed to becoming more. Every day you choose what builds you instead of what comforts you. Every day you stay focused when everything around you tries to distract you. Let your results speak so clearly that you don't need to explain anything. Let your habits speak for your new mindset. Let your focus speak for your priorities. Let your self-control speak for your growth. The people who knew you before will notice the difference. Some will support it. Some will misunderstand it. Some may even resent it. That's not your concern. Your concern is staying loyal to your new path. The more you evolve, the less you'll feel the need to defend it. You start to notice that old problems no longer feel heavy. You begin solving challenges faster. You make decisions with more clarity. You stop entertaining energy that doesn't serve your future. These are the markers of deep change. You don't need a stage for them. They happen in your day-to-day life, in your silence, in your planning, in the way you carry yourself. You feel the growth because you earned it. You built it brick by brick while others were still waiting for the right time. Make your growth so undeniable that even you are surprised at how far you've come. Wake up one day and realize you're no longer the person who made excuses. You're no longer someone who breaks promises to themselves. You're no longer the one who needs to be told what to do. You've become disciplined, focused, grounded, and most importantly, respected by yourself. That's real success. You don't get here by wishing. You get here by deciding. You decide to be consistent. You decide to stop lowering your standards. You decide to put your old patterns to rest. You decide that no matter how long it takes, you're going to keep showing up until your growth is no longer invisible. And once you decide that, everything begins to shift. The most powerful transformation isn't loud. It doesn't beg for attention. It shows up in how you respond to pressure, in how you bounce back from failure, in how you treat people when you're under stress. It shows up in your habits, not your words. That's the kind of growth that no one can deny, because they feel it when you walk in the room. They hear it in your voice. They see it in your decisions. And they realize you're not who you used to be. Keep growing until it's impossible to go unnoticed. Keep working until your name means something without